Today I'm going to teach you how to make some of your own gear for free. Today we're going to take this here and turn it into an amazingly fast boiling alcohol stove. The Fancy Feast stove. Let's check it out. Alright, sorry to start with the lights off, but I did want to show you it boiling. You can still see it going right there. These things are awesome. They are practically free to build. If you don't have the stuff, maybe they're pennies. I mean, seriously, under $1. You can go to the store and buy it. And they're incredibly fast boiling, very, very lightweight. Now to snuff a stove like this, now I'm almost out of alcohol in there because I didn't put a lot in to begin with. Put your pot over it. Boom, done. There you go. Snuffed out. So I'm going to show you how to make one of these today. They're very, very simple. You don't need a ton of tools. You can do it any way you want. I'm going to use a Dremel tool today. You can use a pair of scissors to cut your can down. Okay. So what you're going to need is a Fancy Feast can, and of course my cats have devoured it. A can of Hunt's tomato paste, or anything in this size of a can. You can kind of tell what size it is because it will fit right in there in the center. You're also going to need some carbon felt. Now I have some over here that I should have pulled out before the video started. And this stuff here, and you can tell I've used some of it to make that one. This stuff here is very, very thick, and it's kind of like what you'd use if you had to weld something and there was drywall behind the weld. So you'd use it like that, and you wouldn't burn the drywall. It is fire resistant, and it will really soak up all the alcohol in there. Now what you want to do with this is you want to cut it just a little bit taller than this so you can tuck it in, and it's very, very absorbent. Another nice thing about this is it cools down quickly. I'm holding this now. It was burning, but 30 seconds ago. So that's pretty much it. It's a very simple, easy to do project. I'm going to show you how to put it together step by step. The first thing you're going to have to do is open the cans and empty them and wash them out. Now I've already done that. Well, my cats have already done that with that. But I got to do this one. So I'm going to open it up, drain it out, and we'll be back and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so I removed the top and the bottom, and I used a side cutting can opener here. Just so I don't get sharp edges. Now, we've got this in here. But we're also going to need to do some holes in this. You're going to need some pressure relief kind of holes here and here. Now I only put one here and this seemed to work. But I also made this a little bit too low for me. I kind of wanted it to stand up a little bit taller. This should be 1 inch, sticking out 1 inch out of this. So what we're going to do with that is measure 1 inch up from the bottom and decide where we want to cut. So if I'm seeing this here flush against the bottom, there's about 1 inch. That correlates to... if I can get it to stay straight. Let's do it this way. No, let's do it that way. Because I have to cut. There we go. Okay. So 1 inch is like usually right above that little line there. So what we're going to do is cut right here. I'm going to make a mark. And again, this isn't exacting science. It doesn't have to be perfect. And that's where we're going to cut. So I'm going to take my Dremel and I'm going to cut around this one little line. Now you want to cut as evenly as possible, and that's why I'm choosing an indentation to do it. It's a little bit easier to run the Dremel wheel through there. You can cut it with scissors. I just find that a Dremel makes a little bit more of a neater cut through there. Another thing you want to do, and this is kind of sort of important, sort of not important, if I can hold on to that can for a second, is just take off the paper on the outside of this. Now there's going to be some glue. I like to get some rubbing alcohol or WD-40 and take that off first. So we'll do that. But the first thing I want to do is cut this piece right here using my Dremel. Okay. And I'm just going to cut that piece off, and then this part is going to sit right in there, just a little bit lower, and then I'll show you the next step. Alright, there we go. Let's turn that off. We got that done. Now, like I said, you can tell that's pretty uneven, right? Well, I'm going to even it up with this and make it even because we want this to stand flat in there. We don't want it to tip around because this is going to be our pot stand. So when it sits inside here, right now it's going to wobble all over the place, or stand too high on one side and not the other. So we're going to take down those little edges that I kind of messed up on, make it nice and flat, and then we'll drill our hole next. That's nice and flush in there now. Perfect, not tipping anywhere. If you're wondering why I'm doing this in a box, it's just to keep the metal shavings all in one place. Can't stand cleaning them up after a video. So it's kind of my laziness. See, got all those metal shavings in there. So anyway, that part's done. We don't need that ring anymore. This stuff's over with. We can take that and put it over there. And now we can move on to... First off, I'm going to take some WD-40 and clean off the stickies, because that'll get really nasty once it burns. Then we're going to make our notches at the bottom. We're going to make 2 notches at the bottom and 2 holes at the top. So let me clean this off first, and I'll bring you back when we do the notches. Alright, so they're all cleaned up. I have them marked. I am changing out to this very worn down Dremel tip here. Because what I'm going to do first is just make these little areas here where the alcohol will flow through into the carbon felt and come around the outside here and make a nice flame. So I turn that on. I'm going to start grinding in here. I'll bring you back when it's all finished. This is what it looks like to start with. So I'll bring you back when I'm all done. So there you go. Got a little bit of cleaning up to do there. A little piece of metal hanging off. But you can see that's all you need. You don't need a ton of stuff there. There's the other one on the other side. And again, I didn't follow my lines perfectly. They're really just meant there as a suggestion. I don't have to be perfect. All that's doing is when you put the felt in here, letting that alcohol that you put in the center here drain into the felt and make your flame. So now we're going to drill the 2 holes on top. And these are really just for pressure release. As you can see, I only did 1 here because I'd seen many with 1. This one I want to make a little more symmetrical and neat, so I'm going to do 2. And I'm just going to take a drill down into it. I'm going to use a piece of wood so I don't crush my thing here. And this isn't a perfectly shaped piece of wood again. You work with what you got. I ran out to the wood pile, grabbed a piece of wood, and I'm going to place my drill in there and just drill that hole with a drill bit. Again, doesn't need to be a huge, doesn't need to be the perfect size. I'll show you what I'm working with here so you can see. I have a bunch of random drill bits in here, okay? I'm sure everybody's got one of these sets. We're just going to drill a hole in there, and I'll show you what that looks like when it's done. Alright, so I got my holes made. Okay, now I got my notches on the bottom. Now what we're going to do is this is going to be about 1.5 inches, and it doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to put it around here. You just want to make sure that it goes all the way around the outside of this thing, like this. And you see I'm barely close. It can be stretched and closed up there. And you're going to put this in here, okay? It's going to be a little difficult. You'll have to fit it in. And when you do, you're going to have to take a screwdriver and kind of shove the rest of that stuff in there, which we will do here, okay? Get the rest of that carbon felt in there and under the ridge of the cap can, and you will be all set. Fairly simple. It just snaps right under there, and it will go down to the bottom. It will also anchor your can in a whole lot better, and it will close up that little gap where it wasn't all the way closed before. So there you go. That's pretty much it. I'm just going to finish up and touch up a little bit here, and then we'll put some alcohol in it and we will test it out. Alright, strange place to start a new video. We're over the scale. I want to show you what this will weigh. There you go. Okay. 0.81 ounces. So that's pretty darn light. So that's not even 1 ounce, 0.81. Now if I combine that with, say, a titanium cook kit here, in 5 ounces I have my stove. I'll take the stove off. 4.27, put the stove on, 5.04. So for 5 ounces I have a titanium pot to boil water and a little stove. Let's back up and let's do a 2-cup boil test on this. Alright, I got 2 cups of water in there, right on the 16-ounce mark. Okay. So we're going to put in some fuel in here. There we go. Now this will seem to wick up a lot of fuel, so if you put a ton in, don't worry about it if it's gone in a second, because all that carbon will soak it up. Like I had it up to about the 3rd or 4th rung, and now it's down to the 2nd. So the carbon will soak it up, and that's a good thing. You want that felt to soak it up. Alright, let's get my lighter up. Light it up. Now I'm going to let this burn in a little. There we go. I'm going to turn off the top light so you can see, because it's slowly starting to come up the sides. Okay. I'm going to put it on top here, and we're going to start our stopwatch when I put it on here. Let me get my stopwatch back up. Alright. So, and you'll see a lot of the crud, the metal and stuff burning off. All that extra metal that was on there. We're going to put this on here. And yes, I will put a lid on it. Start it. There's the stopwatch going. Okay. Cover it up. Let's see how long that takes. During this boiling test, I am going to bring you down so you can see what the flame looks like around it. So, let's do that in a minute. Show you what it looks like. Now, I do have just the studio lights on, so you can see what it looks like just burning down there. Okay? But I turned the top light off. So there you go, primed and ready to go in a matter of seconds. It's what? 44 seconds. It's already primed and heating it up. So let's see how long that takes. All right, we're about 3 minutes, 10 seconds in. Let's see what we got going on so far. A lot of bubbles coming up. Doing good. All right, almost there. Keep it going. All right, I'm going to stop it because I hear it boiling. 4 minutes, 8 seconds. Look at that. And there you go. So that's an extremely efficient little alcohol stove. And for 2 cups of water, that is not bad at all. Now to put it out, of course, you're going to have to put something over it. I have a pot that I can toss over it, or I can take my boiled water, use it for what I'm going to use it for, and then put it out. Or you can just make your own little snuffer cap. But there you go. 4 minutes, 8 seconds. And it's still getting some of the metal popping off there and going. It'll do that for a couple of times. It really doesn't need to be pretty. As you can tell, this is not a perfect stove. These, I think, are a little too big. The other side wasn't even. The bottom isn't perfect, but it's flush and flat and stands on there nicely. It doesn't need to be perfect, right? You're learning how to do this. You're building your own gear, and you're having a lot of fun doing it too. I mean, this one, I had a little short. You know, it was a little short on the top, but it works great. Boils water nice and quick. Can't complain. So, I'm going to put this out, bring you back, and we'll wrap up the video. All right, quickly, let me show you. There you go. Done. Out, all snuffed out, taken care of. And we got a lot of alcohol left over in there, as you can see there. Okay. So I just pour that back into my flask. What I do with the alcohol stoves is when I don't use all the alcohol in it, I have one of these little Stanley flasks. And I'll just pour it back in there once it cools off and use it for the next time. And the felt will still have a bit of residual rubbing alcohol in it. It will dry up. So if you're carrying this in a backpack, I would suggest sticking this in like a Ziploc bag or something that's waterproof that won't leak. So that's a simple way to make yourself almost free, especially if you happen to have these things lying around your house already. I forget what the felt was, but I will put a link to it down below. It's inexpensive. It's not anything super expensive. Supposedly you can do it with some kind of cotton or cloth. I would stick to this felt because it is fireproof, so it won't burn up on you. And the good part about these is if they're not perfect and they start to get beat up or worn out, you throw it in the garbage and you make a new one. They're that simple to make. So that is the Fancy Feast stove. Really quick build for you, really easy to do. I gotta say, I'm impressed with the performance in them. I may use these exclusively in my videos until they get beat up, and then we'll try a new design. Anyway, folks, so thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out all our links down below. I will put a link to the carbon felt under there if you're interested in picking it up. And under that is our Amazon affiliate store. The felt will be in my store as well if you're interested in some of the stuff that I use on the channel. Things like, these Lixada titanium pots and things like that. They're all in the store. A bunch of different categories there. We have our freeze-dried wholesaler link. That link will save you 15%. Click on the link, buy what you want, get to checkout, and using my link automatically saves you 15% on anything you buy. Below that is our My Patriot Supply link. Luckily, hopefully, we averted that train disaster where rail lines were going to shut down, but you see how quickly our nation's food supply can be in crisis. If you have not prepared, or if you're looking to bolster your preparedness a little bit, we do have an awesome deal for you this month. That's $250 off of a 3-month kit and $50 off the 4-week kit. Go to preparewithiridium.com, preparewithiridium.com. That's my personal site with my deals on it. Check it out there, and you can get it there. And below that, we have our Thrive Life freeze-dried food store. Again, if you're interested in getting stocked up, now's the time to do it. You can try out Thrive without joining anything or becoming a reseller or anything like that, a consultant. Just go there, check it out, and see if you like it. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching. Stay safe and stay prepared.